Historic week, really, for Ripple and XRP. Lots of news. This is the weekly recap for those of you that really don't want to dig through the day to day minutia. Let's go over all of it. And there's quite a bit that transpired during this week. We see the title of this XRP Breakthrough Week, SEC case. It's all over Red Rover. ETFs advance that much more closer to finally getting an approval. We're going to see one likely this year. And whales go on a $915 million buying spree of XRP. This is your recap for June 22 through June 28th. There was a lot going on. Of course, the biggest story of them all, Ripple and the SEC, they're going to drop their appeals. The case, for all intents and purposes, is all over. That's it. Of course, Judge Torres rejected a settlement offer. The price of XRP went down a bit. Then there was an announcement that there'd be no further appeals, that this thing is finally over after years of struggle, and XRP kind of rebounded right to where it left off. No harm, no foul. Now we can focus on the future, building, adoption, and an impending bull run. We just got to see some growth in the overall crypto space. During the week, we saw 420 million XRP scooped up by whales. They know what's on the horizon. We had some XRP futures ETFs approved, some further ones. We're waiting on that spot. And I think we're waiting on both, of course, Fidelity and BlackRock to enter. Now that this case is over, I suspect that will happen imminently. Canada. Three Canadian spot ETFs went live. These regulators are going to look at this issue very similar. They're going live with ETFs in Canada. You know it's just right around the corner for the US to follow suit. We had Wormhole, RLUSD, Apex headlines, all showing massive utility here in the near future. All right, let's go over the big win, of course. 4.5 years, just, bad headlines, drama, it's over. Ripple's going to pay the $125 million. XRP already ruled that ain't changing. It's not a security. Both sides, they're just done. No more fighting to be had. Now, the general injunction will stick with Ripple, but it just says don't break the law. It doesn't really mean anything. We would have liked to get rid of it, but the legal cloud that's been over this blockchain, whether that's right or wrong, over the company Ripple, it's gone. This is settled, and we're not going to continue going forward. Market reaction again. The price of XRP popped 4.5% in 24 hours. Trading desks lit up, and analysts called this really the clarity moment that finally unlocks Wall Street's distribution pipeline. A lot of these big players, they don't want to get involved if there's an active case going on. Even if it's clear that both sides are kind of over it, they want finality, and that's what we're getting here. ETF wave is going to begin. It's just a matter of time. Now all eyes are on Franklin Templeton. That spot filing, I think it's next on there for approval. Odds right now are somewhere between 78% and 98%, depending on who you listen to, that an XRP ETF is getting approved this year, and that's really a big deal. On-chain, we're seeing a massive update in on-chain addresses going live, a 442% jump. Ripple this week moved 200 million XRP to an unknown wallet, likely setting up some new institutional rails. New technology announcement, of course, with Wormhole. Ripple and Wormhole are going to bring cross-chain bridge to the XRP ledger, which David Schwartz said interoperability is an on-ramp to mass adoption. We don't really want to have to think about all this stuff. What chain you're using. You just want to do something, move some money here, make a payment there, make a trade. You just want that to happen, and you can leverage the blockchains that are best for that purpose. You want fast, cheap, decentralized trade, great. You have it on the XRP ledger. You want, functionality of the Ethereum blockchain, great. You can use the Ethereum blockchain for that smart contract functionality, or the EVM sidechain, of course, for XRP ledger. You just don't want to think about it. Just do your transactions. All of these blockchains will link together, whether it's Flare, whether it's, Midnight on Cardano. You're going to put it all together. That is the future here. We're seeing RLUSD expansion. 12 million worth of fresh RLUSD was minted this week, closing the gap to a $250 million market cap. Stablecoins now plug into Ripple's payments for faster treasury flows. And I think what this is going to do, it essentially gives you a pipeline from traditional finance directly on chain. And as soon as you do that, everything you do on the blockchain now comes down in cost and efficiency. You can use XRP, other assets, RLUSD, doesn't matter. I think really Ripple's vision of where they want to take this long term is starting to manifest. You got to bring down those fees. We were getting a lot of drag from exchanges, slippage, high exchange fees. Now, when you go on chain the way it should be, fully decentralized, it's a game changer. RLUSD is really paving the way here for Ripple and XRP Ledger to change the world. Price level watch. Immediate resistance, $2.20. We're looking for breakout targets of $2.32 to $2.45. Of course, support is kind of set up in that $1.95 range. Weekly RSI just flashed a rare golden cross. Bullish momentum building towards a $3.33 and $5.85 scenarios. I think we're going to get that pop here eventually. Macro backdrop, just remember, Fed's still tight. And you have this correlation between crypto and equities right now, but we know they're going to capitulate sooner than later. It's going to happen. And when they start that money printer, when it goes burr, man, this space is going to take off. They cannot keep things tight for much longer. Apex highlights, of course, that happened between June 10th and June 12th. We're still unpacking what happened at Singapore Summit, but they really are showcasing AI integration. Going to be a hot spot of crypto growth this year, and you're going to see that coming to the XRP Ledger. Cross-chain demos, that's what it's about, multi-chain future. RWA tokenization plans, that's going to fuel partnership, that's going to fuel adoption, and it's so key because whether you're a bank, you're an institution, that's what you're interested in. BlackRock, that's what they want to do. They want to tokenize stocks and treasuries and all sorts of stuff. Banks want to do the same. They want to be able to manage, assets, whether it's land ownership, stocks, bonds, whatever it is in the real world. They want to manage that stuff on chain. And really, Ripple is building that future. This was probably the most important Apex we've seen to date, really showcasing that, future that is emerging here. CBDC pipeline. There's been a lot of talk about this, but Ripple is really courting a lot of central banks. Each deal injects new real-world volume into the XRP ledger and strengthens the use case narrative. And you have to remember this. I'm not a fan of CBDCs, but they're coming and coming quick. Brad Garlinghouse announced, look, this is moving beyond the demo phase. We're actually implementing this, not here in the US. We have a different approach, but in a lot of other countries, CBDCs are rolling out. Now, some of these may be private networks, but they have to interoperate. And what's going to stand there in the middle? XRP Ledger. They're not having Ripple build these systems so it interoperates with Bitcoin or some other blockchain. That's the way this is going to work. You're going to have these private networks, really modeled out the XRP Ledger so they can easily, integrate with XRP and interoperate with each other. That's the vision. That's where we're going. And that's going to be a big area of growth. And it's just going to strengthen the whole narrative. If you have, some country building their whole CBDC platform on this technology, interoperating with XRP Ledger, that's going to send XRP's price soaring because the utility is undeniable. What next? What are we looking for? Franklin Templeton, of course, U.S. spot ETF domino effect. I think you'll know when you see BlackRock and Fidelity descend and file their application, it's game time. And I really feel post lawsuit that's going to happen. So we'll keep an eye out for that. RLUSD Treasury adopters. It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of publicly traded companies starting to hold XRP on their balance sheet, starting to hold RLUSD, and also come up with new strategies. Whether it's putting XRP on Flare to earn yield. We're going to get a lot more of that when the EVM side chain is imminently announced and launched, is live. You have the testnet right now, but it's going to be live any second. So you're going to see both of those assets and many more running on the XRP ledger start to be used by major players. I expect we'll also see BlackRock not only issuing an ETF, but also utilizing this technology. They want to tokenize the world. This is the perfect network for that. Path to $3 hinges on ETF inflows, macro easing. And remember this, a lot of times the market's going to front run that. And so if you see XRP taking off, probably an approval is just around the corner. You don't want to wait till it's announced, till it's official, because usually, again, you'll see the market front run that. And I think it should start here pretty quick here. we kind of bottom line everything out here. Regulatory fog is cleared. Institutional doors are opening. Tech stack is expanding. I mean, I did a recap on this the other week. A lot of the areas that I was sour on the XRP ledger, they just came in. They're like fix, 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 fixed. And I can't believe how quickly they've done this and how quickly the EVM sidechain is ready to launch. I mean, they ain't playing games here. Everyone from Ripple, the independent developers, they know what the future has, and they are getting ready to rock and roll. If the ETF wave hits and whales keep buying, XRP's next chapter could outshine every previous cycle, specifically from real world adoption. We saw in 17, it was wild. You saw the price run from half a cent all the way up to $3. That's a huge price appreciation, but it was all based on hope. It was all based on news. This is going to be based on substance, and that's a big, big difference here. Go over and check this thread out on X if you're interested. I have a little chart here, XRP Catalyst and their potential impact. And I look forward to another big week. It's every day, every single day, dominating victory, major announcement. They threw a ringer in there with the judge denying that settlement offer, but then the next day they announced that the court case has ended. It can't get any easier than this. We had the perfect setup. It's just a matter of time now. Drop a comment here, and let's look forward to another explosive week coming up. Talk to you here soon.